Hey guys, and welcome to my very first YouTube tag video. Today we're going to be taking a look at 3 of our most prized possessions in our collections. Now these can be 3 things that are just really important to us, 3 things we're proud to own, anything like that. As long as there are 3 things that you really want to show off that you think are really cool, it applies. Now this here is a YouTube tag video, so I'm going to be tagging 3 other YouTubers to do this same exact video, and then they have to tag 3 more YouTubers and the chain goes on. This here has been a big trend on YouTube like since all the way back in 2015, and I'm hoping to really start to get involved in it once again. So the 3 YouTubers I would like to tag are Power Player Paul. You guys should really check out his videos, they're really good. Imalexraposo. This guy here, when I first found him, he only had like 20 subscribers, but he's been going up ever since. Fantastic quality videos and really interesting to watch. And last but not least, my good friend Ryan from the Kryptonian Collector. If you guys like anything DC or anything like that, go check him out. So those are the 3 guys I am tagging to do this exact same video. Make sure to tag 3 more people as well. And I figured we could just jump right on into it. Let's go! Alright guys, so I managed to choose 3 things from my collection. Now you've probably seen some of these before, especially in my room tour, but each one of these things has a very detailed story behind it. So just to go over it real quick, over here we have a signed copy of Persona 4 by Johnny Young Bosch. He was the main character's voice actor and main antagonist voice actor. You probably heard the name because he's in a bunch of other stuff too. Then over here we have a almost mint copy of Tronbon. And last but not least, we have Metal Gear Solid 2's Substance. This one here is signed by Phil Lamar, the voice of Vamp. Alright, so this one here, I've told this story before, but essentially, a long time ago, I used to work at a gaming company in town. And I was there for the launch of Persona 3, but I had no idea what it was. It was this RPG that came out of nowhere, and we had huge lineups. People were super excited to get their hands on it. So having some extra money at the time and being a collector doing YouTube stuff, I picked up Persona 3, which actually I think you guys can still see right over here. I still have it literally sealed from the same day I bought it. So I ended up picking up Persona 3 and I never played it. But what ended up happening was at one point, a friend of mine's like, you gotta try this game. And I ended up borrowing it, even though I owned it. I just didn't want to open my copy. I borrowed it from a friend because he had played through it, and I played a little bit of it. I didn't get too into it. I was really busy at the time, and it kind of just sat on the back burner. Then Persona 4 came out, and while I didn't think it looked as cool, like it didn't have that same kind of darker tones that 3 had, I was still interested because I guess, according to my friends, it was one of the best game series of all time. So I didn't play Persona 4 on launch either. Instead, I just let it pass me up. And when I was dating Steph, I told her about Persona 4 and how I wanted it, just to add to the collection, how like all the Shin Megami games are decently rare, and I wanted to add it to the collection. So one day she goes down to some small town like a couple miles away from here, and at a yard sale she finds a copy of Persona 4, this copy right here. She finds it at some kind of yard sale. It's still got the soundtrack, it's still got the CD, everything looks in fantastic condition, so she picks it up for me for like 10 bucks. Brings it home, and I decide, you know, I'm gonna play it. You know, I thought I was just gonna pop it in to the collection, and that was gonna be that, and you know, just kind of move on to other things that I already knew, already wanted to play. But instead I popped in and I decided to play it. And you can ask her, this game consumed my life. To this day, I would probably say that it's still at least my favorite RPG of all time. And I just played the crap out of it. I was almost like a zombie doing nothing but Persona 4. That was my life. So yeah, I became a huge Persona fan, seeked out all the other Persona games, and before you know it, I had a pretty decent collection of Persona stuff. So then one year, we were debating on whether or not we wanted to go to a convention down in Halifax. And I was like up in the air about it. We didn't really have the extra funds, but I was like, I don't know. And a friend of mine came in and said, hey, did you hear who's going to be at the convention? And I was like, no, I haven't really been paying attention. And she's like, Johnny Young Bosch is going to be there. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's like one of my favorite voice actors of all time. I gotta meet this guy. So we ended up going down, and actually there's tons of stories I could tell you just about that. But I got to meet him. He was a super awesome guy, and he signed my copy of Persona 4 because, as I said, it was like my favorite game of all time. It consumed my life. And yeah, so ever since, this random game that we picked up at a yard sale, or Steph picked up at a yard sale, has kind of like, I think she got it for like $10 when like everybody else was selling it for $50. It's kind of like slowly increasing its value because we had to repair the case. So I repaired the case, and then I made sure that there was no markings or anything like that on the actual sleeve. And then Johnny signed the sleeve, and everything looks, anyways, it's awesome. So this came from humble beginnings, and it is where it is now. So I absolutely love this. I think it's fantastic, and it's one of my most prized possessions for sure. Now, moving on to Tron, we have another long-winded story. All of these have long stories, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. So, again, I think I might have told this story before, but I'm not 100% sure. So, when I was really, really young, I would get the newer console, but my dad used to say, if you want the new console, you have to get rid of the old one. It was like a teaching method, right? So I had a PS1 and I really wanted a PS2. I wanted to play Grand Theft Auto. I wanted to play all of these like bigger, fancier games. Now, I know that the PS2 can play PS1 games, but I was unfortunately one of those people that had a huge catalog of burnt games. Everything was burnt. My PS1 was chipped. I only had about 4 or 5 games that were actually real. I had Final Fantasy VII, Driver 2, Spyro, and a copy of Mega Man Legends. And anyways, we were selling the original PlayStation to a family friend. And I remember one day I was packing up all the burnt games, I threw them in or whatever, and I didn't care back then. I wasn't a collector back then. And my grandmother came downstairs and she said, there's this game here, Mega Man Legends, it'll work in your PS2, right? It's like, do you want to keep it or do you want to get rid of it? And me being an idiot, I was like, yeah, whatever, just toss it into the pile. You know, I'm never going to play it again. So she did. And before you know it, that family friend became really distant, didn't talk to them anymore, whatever. About good 10 years pass, and I become a game collector. Now, I'm talking to a friend of mine about Mega Man Legends, and how much fun we used to have with it. Even though it's not really a great game, like, you know, structurally, I loved it. I thought it was amazing. And even more so, Mega Man Legends 2, I thought was amazing. So there came this long period where I was searching for the game and I couldn't find it for a reasonable price. Of course, eBay and all of them had shot them through the roof. We didn't want to order online anyway. We enjoy, you know, like local vendors trying to get it here in town. And what ended up happening was I kept searching for it forever until one year on Christmas, which I know is a video that I posted on one of my older channels. A lot of you guys really love it. One Christmas, Steph ended up ordering me in Mega Man Legends with the original player's guide. And super thankful for it. It was great. I was so happy. But then, of course, the collector in me wanted to go for a bigger hunt, and I wanted Mega Man Legends 2. And I searched for that game for years at a reasonable price in a decent condition, and I could not find it. It was just this endless thing. And one day, me and her were having a conversation. I said, you know, as hard as Mega Man Legends was to find, and as hard as Mega Man Legends 2 is, Tron Bond's going to be a whole different story. That one is just going to be ridiculously hard. The majority of copies at the time were going for like $250 to $300 on eBay and Amazon and all that stuff. I said, I give up hope on Tron Bond. I'm not going to find that, but I want Mega Man Legends 2. Anyways, like I said, we searched for years and we didn't find it. Till one day I was in school and on lunch we decided to go up to GameZilla. And I walked in and I said to Jeremy, I think I said, hey, do you know what GameZilla's got a copy of? And I was talking about Mystical Ninja. Actually, I don't think you guys can see it, but I got a copy of Goemon's Great Adventure over there. And anyways, Jeremy was looking for that, and he's just like, before I could even say it, you know, I was like, do you know what GameZilla has a copy of? And he goes, yeah, I know. They have a copy of Mega Man Legends 2. And I was just like, what? What? No, I didn't know that. So we ended up going there, and Mega Man Legends 2 was sitting on top of their PS1 pile for a reasonable price. I think it was something like $40, and it was complete, and they resealed it, they like touch up the disc, they do all that stuff, and I was like, holy shit, man, fuck, awesome. And at the time, I think like I was in school, so I had like no money, and I was just like, I need to get this game. And then I'm looking down, and I can see just below it, there's like this green and kind of like pink case, and I'm like, what is that? So I call the guy over and I'm like, can you move Mega Man Legends 2 for a second? And then boom, Tronbot, sitting there, resealed, perfect condition, like absolutely fine. I guess some guy traded in his whole PS1 collection because he was planning a trip to move to Japan or something like that. So he traded in like everything he had, and they were selling this in like amazing condition for, I think it was $129.99. And I was like, oh my god, like compared to the prices that were online, like that was a good price, especially in the condition. I mean, some people were asking $200 for just the disc. So I was like, I gotta have it. So I remember slamming together like as much money as I could on payday and going up and picking it up. And I think he even gave me a better deal because I was in there all the time. So props to the guys at Gamezilla for that. So yeah, Tronbot, added it to the collection. I also got Mega Man Legends 2, and now I have the whole like little trilogy. And it still pains me that Mega Man Legends 3 is not a thing, but whatever. Then, last but not least, Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance. My god, okay, another long story. If you guys have checked it out this long, congratulations. Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance was the first Metal Gear Solid game I ever played. That is technically a lie. I did play the original Metal Gear Solid because I had a burnt copy way back in the day, but I was too young, I didn't understand it, it was too complicated, I hated it. So when this first came out, or when I was first introduced to it, I should say, I only had a GameCube, and that was it. I didn't have a PS2, I didn't have anything else. And my buddy Jeremy, he did have a PS2, and he picked this up, and he brought over his PS2, and we played it, like, one weekend, and we frickin' loved it. It was, like, so awesome, best game ever, whatever. So, for the longest time afterwards, when I finally got a PS2, I wanted a copy of it. But I didn't want Sons of Liberty, because Sons of Liberty was missing, like, a lot of content. Everywhere you would go, everywhere, you could find a copy of Sons of Liberty. It didn't seem to matter what. But Substance was, like, impossible to find. I remember going to stores for probably about, like, a year and a half, 2 years, checking all the time, do you have a copy of MGS2? But it has to be Substance. And they were like, nope, we got Sons of Liberty. And I was just like, I don't want Sons of Liberty, I want Substance. So, searched fucking forever. And then I think one day we found it at Gamezilla once again, because they were the guys you'd go to for like the rare games. People would often trade in there because they knew they would get like a decent amount of money for it. So I think we found it there, and I finally got my hands on it, and I was like super happy because like the first real Metal Gear game I played through was Twin Snakes, which is a remake of the original on GameCube. And then I went through this, and then, you know, by that point, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 was coming out, and then Subsistence, and then all the other ones, and I've been a huge fan ever since. But I wanted this one for the VR missions, for the skateboarding, for all that other stuff. So I ended up finding a copy, eventually put it in my collection, told other people about it, and then later on down the road, the 3-pack came out with Substance, of course, because, you know, it's only after you find something that they make it easy for you to get. But anyway, long story short, that same convention that Johnny was at for Persona 4, I think 1 or 2 years later after this, Phil Lamar showed up, the voice of Vamp. And I ended up getting him to sign it. And I had a conversation with him where he was actually giving me some voice clips, like from the game. He was doing some impressions of Vamp from MGS4. And it was fantastic. It was super cool. He was such a down-to-earth guy. And when he actually saw the Substance version, he didn't recognize it at first, right? Because so many people bring up Sons of Liberty or MGS4 or, you know, something else completely. But he saw it, he's like, oh, he goes, Metal Gear Solid 2. He's like, this is the hard one to find. And I was just like, yes, it is. So anyways, he signed it, and I got a chance to meet him, and it was super cool. So all in all, guys, that there is my 3 most treasured or most prized possessions that I have. If you guys are interested in doing a video like this, just leave a link to it down in the comments section below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. As for the 3 tagged people, I'm really interested in seeing your guys' videos, and even more so, who you guys are going to tag. So, really excited for that. But anyways, guys, if you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really like it, subscribe for more. And please share this video around. Let people know that you enjoyed it. So, see you guys all next time.